Hello everyone, I'm Xiao Gang. In this lesson, we will actually build our count code. How does it interact? Actually, when we instantiate our underlying runtime unit, it will instantiate make share, and then we pass in this path and the printed log to it, right? Then these two smart pointer objects are passed to it. At the same time, there is a trigger here, a button that triggers it. This button is actually right here. This button we directly pulled out. Yes, this button is bound to this function. So actually this class looks very simple to you. It only has these few methods, but in reality, when constructing it, it needs to be linked with Slate. Then after construction, you need to add it to our entire core management. Then its tick will be called by the core management, and this method will then be called by the Slate UI. So this is a very concise, very complex, and very important function design. First, let's follow our usual approach. We need to define some variables. Okay, good. I assume everyone here has some basic knowledge. I'll explain what these variables are used for page by page. That should be fine. First of all, then you definitely need to have this variable, right? A variable like status. We make it provided. So, because this variable is used to represent this phase, right? Only then can we make a judgment what things we need to do in each phase. Secondly, we need two smart pointers. These two smart pointers are used to hold the thing that comes over. So we can access and modify it. Okay? Then here we will. Then we need some TRA. These TRA are what we traverse to the first stage. We traverse all the folders. Then in the second stage, we traverse all the files. The third stage is us traversing these files. These files should be the third stage. This stage is technical. It has been calculated. This place mutates to all. This needs to be calculated. Yes, these are the few TOA. You'll understand when you use them later. And here, we have a color number. That is the accumulated data we currently have. Then we have a log data here, maybe like this. Listing all these variables at once is a bit confusing, but we'll know when we use them. Then there are a few more times after this. Well, there's really nothing to explain about this. It's just that at each stage, we set the time at this point. Finally, after the execution is complete, we just print this time, right? These are all quite simple. That is our UI. We need to modify our UMG. Then you definitely need to hold the UI object. This is a state of our internal computation. Then in our engineering operations, all our intermediate data and the final resulting data. And then there's this time, right? Okay, right. So actually our variables are just these. When we learn a class, we start with variables. And then we have two characters here. As for decorated, we mainly... What is this log for? Let's write the method here first. This log, you might say this isn't your log, but this log needs to be displayed here. If we need to go here, keep this new low object, add this object to this location. So we specifically wrote two methods here. We haven't written any content in these yet. So this method is for adding this object into our scroll box. So this method is used for that purpose. Next, we'll write another method. I'll write the method, but we won't write the content yet. That way, I don't need to declare it in reverse. I don't need a counter statement. So these methods actually correspond to the content to be executed in these stages. Then we also have a check for the fail path of this file, because sometimes the fail path may not be correct. Okay, we will create their implementations. Alright, so we have created them. Don't get confused now. Let me emphasize again, we follow these stages. Each stage executes its corresponding method. As for the entire entry point, let's first declare it. We need to declare that at the 0 frame, we have the data ready to go. Then at the next frame, it starts executing. So we mainly use this function to activate it. When we click, we will enter this function. First, we need to check whether we are currently not in this state. If we are already in another state, it means we are in the middle of an iteration process. Then there is a problem here. We have a very interesting way of writing this. Let me show you. This way of writing might be less common to you. You need to have some reflection, experience, and knowledge. Only then can you understand this way of writing. So the meaning of this way of writing is that we convert this enum into this string. In fact, it is converted into this string. So what kind of string will it be converted into? It will be converted into this string. Why can it be done this way? Today, the statue elim thing. This method, we directly click into it. This method, I'm not sure if it was mentioned earlier. It might have been missed, but this method is very important. It allows you to take the corresponding, because you know that an enum actually corresponds to integer values, convert it into this lems string. It is converted into this string. After obtaining this string, we need to concatenate this information. That is to say, after concatenating this information, it means this is our method. That is which method we use. Compute the code. It is working. Then each segment, the state is like this. Then we call this method. We add it to ours. Then we reflect it back in. So the meaning of this code is that if we are already computing, we won't let it execute anywhere. Then let's take a look. Now, for example, let's go into our engine and do something like this. We find a relatively large engine, a larger type. He can't finish writing 1.5 and 2. Then we click this again. We can take a look. Then we click this again. Search for Unreal Engine project code. You will notice there is a red line in the middle. Actually, I can't stop the red line now. This red line is what we just printed. The thing we printed. That's it. Yes, so that's how it's done. Next, if. That is to say, when we are already in this state, it will not open the dialog box we just had. When to look for the folder. It will print a warning log for you, but because the spawn was too strange, we just skipped it. Okay, then here we go to get our platform again. Now we are going to open our platform dialog box. And here we need to touch this log, that sheet. To be precise, it's not a log. Touch this header file. This header file is here. Mainly these two brothers, we need to paste them together. It's also fine, no problem. Okay, let's just paste them all at once. Then we need to put the engine ones on top and put our own ones below. Okay, after pasting them, we then get it into our platform. Anyway, whether we get it or not in the end, we'll just return it as processed. And if this platform exists, right? The routine here is the same as in our previous example. This platform must exist. Only then can we execute the content inside. Then we take a folder name. We go find this location, prepare a folder name. This part is a foulet for finding our window. Such a giant cake. No need to go through windows here. Then we get the path from last time. Okay, we can change the order. Put this giant cake at the top. The program here, this YouTube, we need to change the name. So this name should be here. Okay, after the data is prepared, then we can call this interface. As for this interface, we will open a path to select a folder. And only if we successfully open it here, that is, if you cancel it, then nothing will be done. Only after successfully opening it will we act our subsequent workflow. Okay, so first of all, we need to pass this path to our smart pointer. This thing is the one in the upper right corner. Let me open it for you so I can explain it clearly. Everyone, please be clear. Okay, you can see this is it. Let's update this. Then next we will. Let's take a look. Let's record the path. We used the this time. Okay, then at this point, we need to clear all our log windows because these logs, if there are too many slates, it will lag. And you don't want tens of thousands of log entries. There, we just let it scroll a bit. Okay, after the log is cleared here, we print a first line, which is this log, meaning where we start the execution from. We put their subtitle together. Then we call print display here. Of course, we haven't written this display yet, but everyone knows that calling it here. Gesture to display something in the log window. And then we have our first path. We have our first path. This part is more complicated. So let's do the first path. It is the first path, which is by opening the folder. Hit this first path. Then we change our state to this. Start searching this folder. Then we record the time. This is the first time we record the starting time at this point. Then our code, we initialize the code to 0, right? Okay, no problem. Then at this point, we log another entry and we say we are now ready. We are ready to start initialization. Then at this point, we log another entry. Okay, obviously if our platform here, if this file fails to open, it means we canceled. If we cancel it, at this point, we also hope that our users can perceive this. So here we can see, here we open, then we cancel. You see, this is perceived. That is, this folder cannot be opened because you canceled it, right? Here we pass in our first folder. We have some constructors here. We'd better initialize some variables. So the variables we need to initialize, actually, because we found during operation, sometimes we are here. Some of our variables are not in error. I'll just paste it over. So first, we set the state to ideal. The default state is ideal. Then we pass in this constructor. We hold on to the index of these two characters. And at the same time, we save both this code technique and the date technique. So after this step, if we execute it, we can add this information in. We haven't started working yet. We can open it and take a look. We will demonstrate each stage for everyone because this is quite complex. Okay, let's search the code. We'll select this one. It's not here. You can see nothing is being executed here. Right after clicking here. Clicking it again has no effect. There's no log here. Right now, we want to see the log. Then next, we'll complete these two functions. For the log, these two functions are very simple. First of all, since we are logging, let's also output this log. Right, okay. For this log, we are using this one. Okay, after we finish typing this log, we now need to add this log to our log box and then add it to the Slate. So when we add it, we just need to create a box here. And note that we need to check if the current number of logs is greater than 1000, we reset it to 0. Yes, just clear it. At this point, we increment the log counter by 1. Then we add it in, and then we scroll it to the bottom. This blueprint should be very familiar. The same applies to the following. The same applies below, but it has a special feature. You will find it is like this. Here we have a color. We set this color to red. This gives it a clear warning. Then let's try again. Okay, we'll go through it step by step. This is really difficult, to be honest. You can see that the path has been set here. Then we start searching. Then we click it again and it prompts you. We are working. Clicking it again will have no response. Let's turn it off first. Then look. If we open Spile here, it will also have log prompts. Okay, you will see that opening Spile here, right? So this is actually a very simple interaction. Now we need to give, at this point, we get in this array, we get the first element. We need to start our tick task. Alright, then this state. Then we will explain the next few points. This part mainly gave you an overview. That is, how do we interact with this content code? How to interact with our Slate like this. Such a mutually supportive relationship.